Here it is. Now it's recording. So you can raise your hand at the inside hand. I haven't really told you about that. I will in a second. Anyway, I'm just hoping that you can take it.
I know the whole time.
If I were you, I wouldn't have told me anything.
It's all good. Yep.
Because I can't remember what the range is.
Right.
I know I put it once.
Yeah.
But then, the students do the things of like Louise and
Yeah, I know.
and Viola, and then see if I think we can just do that.
Yeah, I think it's awesome.
And then I think I can make the folders private for this on the
Yep.
students.
Yep.
So if you could set that up with your video,
Super cool.
then we can just and then just confirm that it's probably easy to upload the videos to
Right.
YouTube.
I have to imagine it is.
Yeah.
It's all on my phone, so it's just
So maybe if you could do that, and then when I teach Louise on Tuesday, she could be the next one.
Yep.
And then I'll put mine on there.
yeah. Cool. Perfect.
Love it. By the way, your warm-up trunk looks great.
Yeah.
You look great. You look great.
I warm up.
So right now, think left leg, because he looks like he's just going to walk you right out the door. So be a little bit aware of that, because Salou obviously is not dangerous,
Right.
but given the opportunity, the second he steps out of that gate, he will not stop. He will just take you to the front of the bus.
Okay.
So the other reason we don't want that to happen, and I don't mean this without roll those knees open. Feel like you can settle into your heels, and again, feel like you're posting from your heels. Feel, like now I'm remembering that I gave you the okay to have those heels down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To think about making them.
That gate.
So, just so you know, because there's on this event, diagonal.
Yeah. Let me know about that.
We're all on diagonal.
Okay.
What happens is that, yeah, so remember that you want to be up when he's outside front leg is forward. So that what they do in like most other disciplines. We, in dressage, we normally do the long diagonal, but good. So now see if you can cut across. Good. You're really.
I mean, he's so.
No, you're riding so well.
So much more responsive.
You are riding so well.
Thank you.
I'm so impressed. Look at that little trot. That's a beautiful trot. But see, he was facing right out the door. That's the only thing that makes me worried about that. You are on the right diagonal. Look up. Where you look is always huge. And then, if you can, squeeze right leg. What's cool is that I can watch you in the video as well.
Right.
This is so nice. What I was gonna, okay, so I
wasn't
interrupted.
meaning to trot there.
I interrupted myself a couple of times. Shoot. What was I talking about? Oh, the stirrups.
The stirrups.
What I was going to say is, I am definitely someone, you know, I was the captain of my soccer and track teams in high school. You know, I've done very well. I can be pretty competitive.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, what I like is that I've retained that good feeling of the competition. But I also have found that tackling, that it's not, I have a totally different attitude about this, I think. Even if you were getting ready for a horse show. Even if there were competitions involved. What I realized is, my newer theme, I think, is the more that you can get into the feel and enjoy the ride, the actual more competitive you are.
Yeah.
I actually no longer, I think the newer way of thinking is that don't do something just to be tough about it or something.
Yeah.
To be, you know, that doesn't really apply here. Because anything that makes you more balanced and comfortable and makes the horse more balanced and comfortable and
Yeah.
enhances the ride,
Totally.
the horse is the first priority
Right.
when you ride. Like, you know, the horse's well-being.
Comfort, all that.
Absolutely. So what I'm saying is, if anything that is a creative solution to making you feel something better,
Gotcha.
because it's about feeling the balance
Gotcha.
and feeling that it is sort of, was I telling you about the idea of about spinning laps?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's that effortlessness with this is actually what you're looking for. It's not like a cardio sport or a real anaerobic sport where you're trying to improve strength and fitness. It is for the horse and it is for you, but that's just a part of it.
Right.
Fitness comes naturally because you ride. You can't, you know, yeah, and you're in shape anyway. So don't ever feel like a creative solution is ever some kind of cheat or some kind of step backwards.
So what you're saying is
I'm
maybe.
saying that having shorter stirrups to help you with the posting, if that's what you need to do in the beginning, that's fine, because
Gotcha.
you're moving so quickly that like next week or 2 weeks from now, you wouldn't need the short stirrups.
Right. Okay.
It would just help you find the balance.
That makes sense. Like get the feel of
It's
it
a real
first.
practical thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with judgment or, you know, there's no like Rocky running up the steps. You know, like it's not like that. So
That's fair.
all that said, you are actually posting pretty well. So for me, the question is more so, do you feel a little unbalanced, and with a little mileage today, just posting, do you think you'll get your balance?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I do. And because like even when my feet are kind of moving around on the stirrups, I'm not immediately like, oh, I need to slow down to a walk and get it
Because
fixed.
let me
like,
tell you something. You know, every rider has a thing, right?
Yeah.
I like Viola. She's this great. I'm saying this on camera. She's
Right.
this great rider.
Yeah.
But you know, her right foot is always swimming around in her stirrup.
Huh.
You know, everybody has something.
Yeah.
And posting and keeping your stirrups might be something we have to work on for months.
Right.
And I'll mad you about
Which
it.
is fine.
But
know.
you are performing right now. It's just so impressive. So no problems with that. So if you ever feel like you want to start out with slightly shorter, that's great. But just remember the numbers and try
Okay.
There are a couple of things that are nice. You know, like, and I'm not this kind of person really, but I do feel like it would be nice to experienced I get, the more respect I sort of deserve in a way. You know, like
Sure,
my
yeah.
trainers are
Oh, of
these
course. Yeah.
very big time trainers, and like, you come into the ring prepared. You know, like my students
Yeah.
are so used to me being so laid back, like, oh, let's spend 15 minutes trying to figure out what your circle leg
Right,
is.
right.
No, I need to be more firm about this. Like, no, write it down on your phone,
Yeah.
set it up beforehand,
And no.
don't bother me with
Yeah.
it. So so make sure that you know what your stirrup length is,
Okay.
and then in the saddle. But then I am going to use stirrup leathers at some point. They're on their way. God knows when they'll get here. I keep getting delayed notifications, but you know, then that'll change obviously.
Right.
But remember that, and then if you need to go up, don't even worry about it.
Okay.
I'm
do
not
it
concerned about that.
Okay. But
All
yeah,
that said, though, one thing before you trot, this is actually what I'd like to do. On the circle, we're just going to do a lot of walk trot transitions on this circle,
okay.
and I'm gonna set them up and talk to you about the transitions as you're doing them. But what I think I'm going to have you start feeling is, and this is sort of a slightly more advanced thing too, is the strides, because obviously
Feeling very slow on his walk.
slow is good. Slow is fine.
Okay.
He looks very balanced, and if he's not pulling, then I'm not worried about it.
Yeah. He's not
If you feel like he's going to pull, squeeze in both legs.
okay.
This is just very, very nice, and I'm so glad that it's on video and I don't have to. A little inside leg here, because another thing that's going to be important as you move on is you actually have the bend right now, which is a whole other thing. He's round. You'll see it in the video. And you have a light contact. This is just nuts how well he looks right now. So right now he's slow because you actually have him very balanced underneath you, and because he's older and his musculature he doesn't have a ton of muscles, or big muscles anymore.
Right.
It's like he goes slower when you have him really, really balanced, because you're using muscles. He has to use muscles that are very, and are a little. It's just harder to keep this balance, but it's very good. Now, see how, so what your goal is to sort of have the inside rein straight back to your hand. So think inside leg, sit back. Good. Now keep turning. Good. That's the bend. And you'll see it in the video. It means you're balanced. The bend really means that he's upright and balanced into your outside rein.
Okay.
I'll tell you more about that another time. But these transitions are, the goal is to stay on your circle. Over here, I don't know if you can see your prints, but over here it's a little more fuzzy, right?
Yep.
This is good. This is the circle.
Well, I got the fence here to.
Yes. But keep in mind always too, there are lots of people who can't do the circle you're doing right now. So never be hard on yourself, because you are like
Easier said than
you're like in the 100th percentile. You know what I mean? Like you're fine. You have a long way to go down before you're like doing anything wrong.
Okay.
So in the transitions, what you want to think in the upwards and downwards, we're doing trot walk. You want to stay in your seat bones. Use your leg to get the trot. Once the trot starts, you want to start posting. A lot of people, when they start the post, they look down to coordinate the beginning with the diagonal.
I felt that.
I can just feel the diagonals at this point. So I'll just start posting and right away I'll change it if I'm feeling on the wrong one.
Yeah.
But the idea is to see if you're on the correct diagonal is just a little glance with your peripheral vision, and you should see the leg. You're just looking for the leg going forward.
So not having to look all the way down.
Exactly. It literally, like right now as you're walking, practice like how much do I have to look down to start seeing the outside leg movement in my peripheral vision.
Right.
You want to get used to that. And then right leg here. The other thing is remember to turn. Sometimes you have to do it a little earlier.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is I say these words automatically, half halt.
Yeah.
Which is just a sophisticated way of describing sort of the slowing down of the gait in order to make your turn. So for you, because you have him in the reins right now, just give him a little squeeze of both legs. So if he slows down too much, just squeeze both legs down. Good. Good. Now look where you're turning, inside leg now. And that also keeps him in the outside rein and not the upright balance. And now you want circles turning now, now. Now, the reason, sometimes because you're in this sort of fast track, there are some things that I say to you, I think automatically, that I forget you don't even really know yet. So the raising of the rein,
Yeah.
because the big thing that I think is important is that you not use the reins to steer, right? Because it bends his neck,
Right.
and that throws his spine out of alignment.
Yep.
But if you feel like the way you can fix sort of a coasting out of the circle is to raise the inside rein. Because just raising it by itself, it sort of blocks his ability to keep going out there. So it doesn't necessarily fix the steering problem, but it's like a quick fix to keep him from going out farther.
Okay.
So right now, right leg, right leg, right leg, and then you can raise it now, like right there. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, perfect. And right now, look at the next point on the circle, right leg, right leg, right leg. And because you have them in both reins, you don't really need to give a big half halt. But when you trot, you might need to because it's faster. And then right now, look at A. Right leg, sitting back in your seat bones, roll the knees open a little, and now you can raise the rein a little. Because you feel you squeeze with your right leg and it didn't really do it. Like you didn't really respond.
Yeah.
So that's when you can maybe make a little tweak. And what you'll start feeling the more you get used to this system of riding, you're gonna start feeling when you need to do things a little in advance.
Right.
Like you might need to raise the rein. You might start feeling the shoulders coast to the left, and that's when, just like that, just lightly raise the rein. Perfect. So the transitions, you start in your seat into the trot. You can experiment with it today. See if you'd like to try it to start out on the correct diagonal, or if you want to just look, when you're. So when you get to A, you'll pick up the trot. This is fine. He's doing great. Because, the ears like that are good too, because it means he's really concentrating. Boy, he's taking some really nice steps. So now look to the right. Very good.
That feels wrong.
So start looking to the right. You're on the correct one. Do you know that you're on the correct one? The correct
Now I do it. First it felt incorrect.
And never ever criticize yourself. Your goal is to actually stop self-criticizing, because unless you really feel like it helps you, but generally, sometimes people get motivated by that, but
Right.
really just give yourself a little bit of credit here because you're doing really well. Good boy. And holding your hand steady is really helping you, because you're keeping the reins in one place, which gives him a chance to go into the contact. Because if you keep changing your hand position, then all of a sudden, he'd be like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go, You need to be very consistent, just like with dogs and kids and people and DMV workers. Everybody, stupid bankers. Great, so right now, I just took one stride. I have 2 legs. I'm gonna have you keep walking. I'm gonna count his walk strides for you, okay? So, now, good. Now the reason I'm doing that is because we're gonna do a little exercise right now where we count strides.
Okay.
And you actually don't need to know this for your level of riding right now, but it's such a great exercise, and part of it is counting the strides. So it just helps you to be able to count the strides. Mostly jumpers do that. People who jump need to count strides. Which I'll explain sometime. But make your turn here. Stay in your seat. Look up. Open your knees. Now, let your heels stretch down. Push the ball of your foot just gently into the stirrup and ask for the top. And then start coasting from there. Good. Let that heel stretch down. Feel like you're just lifting from your heel. And now every time you sit, you can close your lower leg in from your knee. Look to the right. Good. And now look up. and you're gonna walk, but you're gonna sit, put your leg on, and walk. Because we always want them to go a little forward into the downward.
Okay.
Now a little bit bigger walk. It's not funny, it's all the way down in the room. Good. Now a little inside leg just to get them back out on the circle, and then turn your body a little bit. Yep. Very nice. Gorgeous. Now let's pick up the trot again. Staying in the seat, looking up. Beautiful. Pull the knee open. Exaggerate it. Yeah, let me shorten that. I'm going to shorten it. It is not easy to be in long stirrup. A lot of people who start off riding start in a jumping saddle anyway.
Oh, okay.
Because that's the most common English saddle.
This is dressage.
This is a dressage. All of the the brown saddles are jumping, the black ones
Gotcha.
in my barn and our farm.
Gotcha.
That used to be the way, but now people. I'm not sure I should make these. This is just try that before I put it up. By the way, these are horrible. This is a big problem. I
might be.
I have other ones we can just pop
Okay.
in.
I didn't even notice it was like.
Yeah, that's not easy for you. Okay, that looks better. So that was 2. Let me actually take your foot out now. I would, when you get off today, just count
I'll
where
count
those
it.
are.
Yeah, I'll make a note.
And I would just start out with the shorter ones because it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
You don't have anything to prove here.
Yeah.
You know, as long as your leg doesn't look like it's. I mean, some people ride with really short stirrups, but generally, do you think these were even?
This one felt a tiny bit longer, but like half a
Okay, I'll just put
half
it
a
up to you.
whole.
Good boy.
But it's
So that should be good. Watch where he's going. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it.
do it. I know we've cantered, but
Yeah. Actually, all I would do is just be a pain in the. You would be safe.
Yeah.
You'd just be a pain in the ass.
I mean, I feel like I could definitely sit if he decided to.
No, and he wouldn't canter. He literally would just walk fast, and he would not stop, and he would not listen to you.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be scary or. Yeah, that's much better. That's fine. You'll see in the video, it looks totally fine. This is what your stirrup.
Feels a lot
Your
easier.
stirrup length should be this. It's not too long for anybody. It's sort of with dressage, with jumping, there's like a rule. You know, like I can literally give people like the rule. For stirrup length on a jumping saddle,
Yeah.
like it has to hit right below your ankle. But dressage slaps are long so you can be in your seat, and it just has to hit anywhere between bottom of the stirrup has to hit anywhere between your ankle and your heel. So there's lots of leeway. Now see if you can put your hands just a little lower and try to relax a little bit. And just start looking to the right. You want to look where you have to steer. So nice, so good. And now look at A. You got it. So good. Now open your knees, sit, and walk. Just feel the zippers of those ab chaps on the side. Perfect. You got that?
Yeah.
So,
Definitely felt easier. I was losing the right one a little bit at the end, but
oh, when I looked at the right one, I was like when I focused on it, I was like, yeah, that's just too long. The saddle fits you well, so it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I think the length you had is sort of like your future. When I started riding in a dressage saddle, I had my stirrups up. I mean, I've been riding my whole life.
Yeah.
And I cranked my stirrups up really high for a dressage saddle.
it's just it was easier to feel. It was easier to. I felt like I could keep my heels down a little better and my knees open and.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so you know what? Look up across the diagonal. Let's have you change direction across the whole diagonal to the letter M. And just keep following with your hands. Very good. I can tell he's really comfortable with you on him. Oh, you okay? Yep. Just bring, yeah. And remember, you, if you feel like you are always fine bringing your elbows back to halt.
Okay.
Like actually just try halting right now for your sake. Good. And now walk on. And now look up and pick up the trot. What does it feel like? Try switching to the other diagonal. Sit. You got it. Good job. Circling.
Is that it?
That's it. So, I counted the walk strides for you for a second. The trot strides are very easy. It's either every time you go up, you've done a stride, right?
Right.
When you get to A, I'd like you to walk. And what we're going to do is we're going to walk 6 strides and trot 12 strides. So, I'm going to count your 6 strides now. 1, 2,
Oh.
3, 4, 5, 6, and trot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, 12. Back up and walk. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and trot. Good job. Nice scanner. That actually was a nice scanner. Now we've lost count, but don't worry about it. Roll the knees open, look up, close your fingers, and walk. Push into your stirrups a little bit as you go down to the walk too, because that'll sort of help you, open your knees and push down.
Yeah.
Just to ground yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
Because of the bouncing trot. Good. Okay. I didn't count the walk, but let's start over with the trot. So go ahead and pick up the trot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12. Good. And the transitions will get more clean.
I feel like I had a really good one the first time, and then now
I am not, right now I'm not evaluating your transitions.
Okay.
The quality of them. I'm doing this more for you to feel it, to give you mileage doing it.
Yeah.
So there's no you know
That
what
was
to
too
do,
long.
it's just gonna take practice.
Yeah.
Make your turn, look up, and TROT.
Ooh.
That's a nice scanner. That's so funny. It's like closer to the end of his time, so he's already
Get your
he's like at
time.
the end we canter.
Get your
At the
time.
end of the ride we canter. Good. This is so nice. How you feeling?
Good.
So I feel like you could do a practice ride on him.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
The problem was this week with me sort of being all over the place.
Well, and
I need to be here.
I was
You're not
tired.
ready to do it by yourself
Yeah.
yet. I mean, safety wise, no one can do it.
Right.
No one's really allowed to do it by themselves, except me. If I die, I won't sue myself.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's all about.
Oh yeah.
Just the legalities.
It's just legalese.
Yeah. Good. Good. All right. So when you're counting the walk strides, you can feel like you probably can feel it, right? So
Yeah.
just-
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So before we're gonna end this. We just did this for just a little bit.
Yeah.
So we're gonna end this. But before we do, I want you to do it without me counting,
Okay.
and then we'll do a little CANTER.
Done.
Okay, so when you get to A, you're going to do your 12 trot strides,
Okay.
and you'll count them yourself, and then you'll do 6 walk strides and halt. That's nice. remember, is there anything that you think helps you think about the canter? And like what helped you last time, do you think? Definitely you had to realize that it is going to be a little bumpy at first.
Yeah.
It takes a while to get that feeling in your seat.
So today I did some warm up with my feet out of the stirrups. I think that helps.
Good.
I think not having my, we do this with the kids that run to the top too.
Absolutely.
If you learn without the
I do
stirrups.
that too. Like when I get on, I will warm up with my feet out of the stirrups.
Yeah. Like because you don't have your feet to balance you, your hips and your torso has to move with him so much more.
Right. So even as you're walking on a long rein, you can give a little inside leg too if you feel like he's starting to take you, farther in.
So the leg is still something that. So I'm like, well, you can use the inside leg to turn him, but you can also use it to keep him outside.
What I want you to, yes, and that's actually like,
The leg does
that's
so many
something
things.
that I have to address a lot. Yeah, the leg is by far is the primary aid.
Yeah.
And then honestly, it's like, when I grew up, because I was doing hunter jumpers, and they just taught us to do the steering with the like, I don't even know, because when I got more advanced, I know I wasn't pulling a rein to steer
Right.
the horse.
Right.
But what that tells us is that definitely that's the seat. So
Okay.
meaning like where you turn your seat is where he's going to go.
Right.
When I have you look to the right, generally when someone's on a horse and they don't necessarily, look at me for 1 sec, they don't necessarily go like that.
Right.
Like when you look, you do go like that.
Yeah. Turn your whole body a little bit.
You could actually think about it as, I say this to kids, I say belly button.
Belly button.
Or like I have a belly button.
Yep. Yep.
You think, and belly button's right on because it's in between your pelvic bones too.
Right, and it's like kind of in between their ears,
Yep.
typically like
so
right.
where your belly button faces is usually where they're going to go.
Right.
Where your belly button faces is where their head and their chest face. So naturally, like if you look at a textbook about riding, this graphic has been in for riding textbooks forever.
Sure, it's like hundreds of
Like
years.
modern and yeah. Which is they'll show this graphic of like from the top, of your hands and your seat. So when the horse is going left, it's sort of like that.
Yep.
So right now, if you look down, you could think the pommel is the front of the saddle.
Yep.
You can think that you want your belly button to be just a tiny bit to the left of the pommel when you go left, and a tiny bit to the right of the pommel when you go right. But what you'll find, most people are not symmetrical, right? So I am
Right.
not at all.
Right.
So I can turn and look to my right now a lot easier than I can turn and look to my left. So when I go left on a horse, because remember the scoliosis thing with me, I've always felt the need to super concentrate on my position, which might be one reason I've noticed that position in jumping, it was more form. As far as there was function definitely, but in dressage, there's a lot of function to the position.
Yeah.
There's a reason for the position.
Yeah.
So you might start observing that if you start looking down, that it's harder for you to keep yourself going to the left. If it's easy both ways, which for some people it is, or if it's the same both ways, then that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Then you're very lucky. My problems with my riding almost inevitably come back to, like in my doing the upper level work I do, come back to my seat not cooperating.
Yeah.
It's just like it's so good.
Like a body mechanic thing.
Yeah. Anywho, so to answer your question about the leg, it'll start feeling intuitive to you, I think.
Yeah.
But you want to think that if I'm going down this long side and I'm trying to ride a leg yield, so it would be very common in a lesson, like if I was teaching Lisa, to say, okay, turn down the quarter line, which in the arena, and then start leg yielding
Towards
to
the
the
wall.
rail, and
Yeah.
that's like changing lanes in,
Yeah.
in a car. So you want to, you always want to make sure that you are still turned a little this way, but because you're still just you're focusing straight.
Forward, yeah.
They know that,
Yeah.
and then so you're just keeping them straight and using your inside leg.
Right.
But when you turn, I think they just can feel.
Yeah.
You have to look where you're going.
Yep.
I think that's really the simple answer.
Yeah.
Because I have to explain that a lot, and I will often just volunteer. I will explain that when people start leg yielding. But Salou, is so responsive to the inside leg.
Yeah.
That I teach it early because you can actually feel it.
Yeah.
You can actually feel how that works.
Definitely.
Anywho, let's pick up the reins. Next time you get to that part of the circle, you'll ask for the canter.
Okay.
And yeah, remember that it's just like, you got to keep, the knees open helped you a lot. I think that helped a lot.
And am I staying on the circle?
You're going to stay on the circle because I just want you to try to canter half a circle.
Okay.
And then I'm going to have you go back to that. But remember, your goal is just to stay in your seat, look up, helps a ton. Looking at where you look is such a huge part of riding. So inside leg first for the turn and the balance. Stay in your seat, sit up tall, stretch your chest up a little bit, and canter. That's okay. Go back to walk. I'm gonna
Doing
have
it when I didn't want him to do it, now.
I know.
Oh, it's me though.
But what you want to do is so I'm going to have you use a little. You're going to keep the knees open. Little inside leg gets him over in balance.
Okay.
And then all you're going to do is from your hip, you're going to slide your outside leg back just a little bit.
Okay.
And squeeze with both legs lightly for CANT up. So sit back. There it is. That was so freaking good.
That felt way better than.
That's nuts.
That felt way better than yesterday.
This is the second time you fucking did it. You have no idea how huge this is. Really, Alex, it's nuts. It's nuts that you can do this so well. Open the knees and push your seat. You're trying to get your belly button in front of your nose. Feel your feet, your legs going back?
Yeah.
Alex, this is absolutely fucking nuts. You absolutely rode horses the best way.
How are my hands?
Fantastic. I am not shitting you.
Good boy.
I have
Make me look
never
good.
had a student ever. Like, have you ridden at all in class?
Just Western trail rides.
Jesus Christ. I mean, that's what most people say.
Yeah.
Alex, I am not kidding you.
Woo.
That is so fucking good. Yeah, drop your hips down. Yeah, and really what you want to think is that it really is like, it's like the softest, easiest way is always the best way. The balance. I think this is like almost supernatural to me. It's insane.
And it's not crushing my hoo-ha either. Like it wasn't crushing it at all, and it was last time.
Because you were moving it. You were moving it faster than the saddle was moving, I think. Or something. You were probably not, because there's also the saddle.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's the fact that, I can say go with the horse's movement.
Right,
but,
right.
But let's actually, before we end, just change direction. And another thing you can do is just cut through the circle to change direction. God, they're going nuts in
They
there.
are going. They're saying we've been getting grade so early. Where's our grade? Loons.
Well, by the way, I know, I can't be here. Yeah. hours.
Probably.
But you know, I really lived. You know, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
I guess I don't sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
But really, they should be able to live without being fed at 1:30.
Yeah.
I mean, feeding at like 2:30 isn't the end of the world.
Yeah.
But ideally, you don't feed them before 3. Ideally. Because Sandy.
Yeah. It feels like
That would be what we do too. So what time do you get in like 7?
I get here at 7:15. Yeah.
So
So they're getting morning early.
yeah, honestly, their clocks they might think that
Right.
it probably it sort of is time.
They're like, this
Because
amount of
April-
hours.
April got here a full hour later. Than
Right. Right.
Which she was not supposed to. It's
Right.
so funny. You're also getting here early.
I just like to get it done.
You get 5 gold stars this week. You are so awesome. Okay, ready for one more counter?
Yeah.
Then we're gonna let this guy catch his breath and eat his dinner. Okay, whenever you're ready, sister. I'm not worried even about you going there on your own side. Now, one thing I want to tell you, make your turn, and then you can get the counter again. When you ask for it, I'll explain this later. Just put your outside hand a little forward. I think it's harder. Is it
It feels
harder
harder
for you
on
to
this
turn
side.
right?
Yeah.
So that means that you might be holding onto the outside rein too much.
Okay.
So remember, sit back, look up. Outside hand a little forward ahead of the inside hand. So left hand a little ahead of the right. So that what I mean by that is this. But yes, yes. And now little inside leg gets it over. And then look to your, don't let him canter you out the door. And then look to your right and canter.
How do I canter?
That's actually what most people do. Actually, try it. Just ask for it with your leg and then follow. Look to the right. This was just so good. Posting trot. We let the reins get longer, and usually at the end of the ride, we let them have what we call a long, stretchy trot circle. So we just let him trot out, sort of let his joints be all loose and relaxed. It's sort of like a nice little way to
Stretch them out.
Good. Now look up, push your feet in your stirrups, and walk. Look up, look up. So good.
Good boy.
Well done.
Good boy.
I've never clapped after a lesson. You have it on video.
I'll take it.
Really, just. You really are going to be I'm psyched. Really, to have someone work for me who rides, I haven't had that for a really long time. Who
Will not ride?
who can really ride? Most people who work for me don't ride.